if you're seeing this, I may or may not have succeeded in the creation of this channel. But I've clearly decided to go ahead and post this anyway. What I may or may not have succeeded in, you may be asking? Please ask. It'll make me feel better. Thank you for asking. It all started when I had a slightly early midlife crisis, and as all young people who realize they've achieved very little in their lives and are of the age where people are starting to, well, expect them to be adults do, I decided the world was ending and I needed to start a YouTube channel to bring a fleeting sense of purpose back to my life. Look, at least I didn't turn to Instagram modeling. That's Plan F. Look, we don't talk about Plans HD or Plan G, honestly. So I decided that if I was going to do this, I had to give it at least a fair shot. And I would probably need some equipment. A microphone was the first on my list. I knew I didn't need a microphone, but I have heard the sound quality of my iPhone. And I didn't want all of you to have to put up with that for the rest of your lives. Don't get me wrong, I know nothing about microphones or what one gets for sound quality, but I needed something that was beginner friendly but still decent. So what did I do? I went and bought the very first microphone that was suggested to me that had a USB port and wasn't so expensive that I had to sell a kidney to purchase it. In retrospect, I don't even know what the average or a reasonable price for a microphone is. And I went for a USB microphone as I didn't even know what the other ports meant or how you connect them to anything. What can I say? Technology is not my strong suit. With both kidneys still intact and a small blow to my savings, I got home and realized I had no way to connect it to my phone. Please don't ask why I thought a USB port would connect to my phone. I promise I'm not that stupid. Most of the time, at least. Why not buy a camera, you may be thinking. Well, I hope you are, because even if you're not, I'm going to answer the question for you. You are very welcome. For one, cameras are just too expensive at this stage. I am, after all, a broke university student who is currently finishing their final year part-time, so I'm many years down that track of debt. And two, I actually have no clue how to film on a camera or transport the footage anywhere to edit it. In fact, the only time I've ever used a camera was when I was a kid and I stole my mum's photography camera to take photos, as I truly believed I was a child prodigy. I really hope I never have to see those images, so I can at least keep the narrative running in my little head. I also couldn't decide to plug my microphone into my laptop, as the filming quality of that is
garbage.
I then spent all of that night, with no sleep, scouring the internet in hopes I could find some information to help solve my crisis. And I couldn't find anything suggesting I could connect my microphone to my phone. However, I did find massive amounts of information on how to connect a Blue Yeti to your phone, which I was this close to getting as it was cheaper, and I knew multiple people who had it. But I just couldn't pass up on the GX. I mean, look at it. It's so cute. Anyway, I decided that I would try see if mine would work too, since they are the same brand and both USB ports, and maybe, just maybe, it'll work. So I'd planned on going down later that next day when I finally got my car back, but the unknown was sending me into madness, and I didn't feel like ending up in a mental institution. Not yet, at least. So I had to change my plan, and I decided in the morning I would beg my mum to take me down first thing in the morning, as any reasonable and completely sane person does. The next day rolls around, and I explained to my mother the seriousness of this situation and the absolute urgency in requiring these cables. But unfortunately, I am a typical middle child, so I was told yes. I was told yes. Oh, wait, let me change the script then. Best day ever. And this is promising. It should mean that the rest of the day goes perfectly too, right? Turns out my younger sister had overheard the whole conversation, and therefore she invited herself along on this trip as well. When we first arrived, I waddled my way down to the Apple store where dreams are made and technicians are somehow more clueless than my grandfather, who genuinely thought they would unplug all of his clocks when he heard TikTok was being banned on the news. He was, in fact, very distressed about this, and my poor grandmother had to call me up for me to explain to him what TikTok was, which was actually quite hard to explain. I personally have only just downloaded the app to try join the cool kids within the past month, as I realized my life couldn't possibly get any worse. So why not download the app that I swore I would never download? I have only used it once since then, but I still have the app, right? It counts, right? Personally, I'm an Instagram Reels girly, which I know isn't overly loved, but it makes me happy. So get over it.
I'm not like other girls.
As I walked into the Apple store, I also realized I didn't even have an Apple to USB-C charging cable, as the one that came with my phone was, in fact, destroyed and eaten by my cat. This was going to be a very expensive microphone setup, and if it didn't work, I honestly didn't know what the next steps would be. But I'd come this far. I'd spent multiple insomnia-driven nights writing scripts, egging myself on, telling myself it's not like anyone's going to watch your YouTube videos anyway. And out of the 10 that potentially do, only 8 are going to bully you. So what is there to lose? Well, now I actually had quite a lot to lose, as I had in fact spent $355 trying to get one single mic to work. But that's okay, because it's nothing compared to me almost spending my whole life savings on a compounding Pokemon addiction, which is totally not happening. But if it was, how do you get help? Asking for a friend. Anyway, I rushed to give the Apple Store all of my leftover savings, and I debate whether I should actually ask a worker what their thoughts are and if this was in fact a waste of time and money. But deep down, I'm just a little too scared of being judged, saying I'm another basic white girl starting a YouTube channel, like there aren't enough of us already polluting the atmosphere. So I decide against my better judgment, walking away knowing I may have doomed myself. Instead, building excitement, keeping the audience on the edge of their seats, gasping for air in this incredible suspense. Don't lie, I know you're invested. I finally get home. I plug it all in, and I get a notification saying that my phone does not have enough power to support the microphone. Was this all for nothing? I hold back tears and realize that my phone is quite low charge, so maybe, just maybe, if I charge it fully, it would have enough power to support my microphone. And once it's charged, I plug it in for the second time. And I'm sure you know the outcome based on the sound quality of this video. And unfortunately, you're all wrong. How dumb could you possibly be? Just kidding. It did work. And I cried many tears. I wish I was kidding. I, however, did not film proof of this, as I don't need my Kim Kardashian crying face to be turned into a meme one day.
She has this ugly crying face that
I also know full well that I'm very emotional and a self-proclaimed crier. So stick around and it will happen. More than once. Don't worry about that. So that's the story of my microphone and the start to this channel. If you enjoyed this video and my style, I really want to turn this into something I put a lot of time and attention into. So please consider leaving a like or subscribing. I would really appreciate it. Then maybe one day I could turn this into a career and finally feel less guilty about throwing my money down the drain due to a lack of research and impulse buying. in conclusion, I hope we've all learned a valuable lesson here. Because I know I haven't, so I need someone else to learn from my mistakes. Bye!